Hello, hello, DMG's Jim back here for yet another episode of Reading the Dungeon Master's Guide audiobook RTFM with a little bit of commentary left at the end of it. We are still in Chapter 3, the DM's Toolbox. Our next section is Renown, Factions, Standing. There's a bunch of different terms for it. D&D 5e 2024 is using Renown. How do we look in our other players? So this is a section that's going to help you with social standings, with tracking titles, how popular is a party. If you use these kind of mechanics in your campaigns, if your adventures require players to gain standing, to gain faction, as it were, gain renown with an organization, or lose renown, this is the section that's going to help you out with that. So let's get into the reading. As usual, we'll start with the reading, then we'll get to comments at the end of it. Chapter 3, the DM's Toolbox, Renown. Renown is an optional rule that you can use to track characters' standing individually or as a party within a particular group, such as a faction, an organization, or a community. A character or party's renown score starts at 0, then increases as the character earns favor and reputation with respect to the group. You can tie benefits to a character's renown, including ranks, titles, and access to resources. Players track renown separately for each group their characters are associated with. For example, a character might have a renown score of 5 with one faction and a renown score of 20 with another based on the character's interactions with each group. You can use renown over the course of an entire campaign or within a single adventure. At a campaign scale, you might set up factions or guilds that characters can join, individually or as a group, and the characters can pursue ranks and rewards by gaining renown within their organizations. At an adventure level, you might decide the characters as a group need to earn a renown score of 5+ with the council before the council trusts the characters enough to share resources with them. Gaining renown. At your discretion, a character or party can increase their renown in the following ways. Completing missions. Advancing a group's interests can increase a character's renown score with that group by 1. Completing a mission specifically assigned by that group or that directly benefits the group increases a character's renown score by 2. Hugely significant quests might grant renown scores of increases of 3 or 4 at once. Group involvement. Once a character has established a renown score of 1+ with the group, the character can gain renown by spending time between the adventures, undertaking minor tasks for the group, and socializing with its members. After doing so for a number of days equal to 10 times the character's current renown score, the character's renown score increases by 1. Benefits of renown. Use these guidelines when determining the benefits of increasing renown. Recognition. A character who has a renown score of 3+ with the group is a respected member of that group. Other members of the group are friendly towards the character by default and provide the character with lodging and food in dire circumstances. Rank. Some groups have hierarchies that characters can ascend as they improve their renown scores. Other groups have positions of honor that the characters can apply for if their renown score is high enough. Characters can earn promotions as their renown score increases. You can establish certain renown score thresholds as prerequisites, though not necessarily the only prerequisites for advancing in rank. You can set these thresholds however you like, creating ranks and titles for the groups in your campaign. Perks. Earning renown within a group might come with certain benefits. A character with a renown score of 3+ might gain accessible to a reliable contact, a safe house, or a discount on adventuring gear. With a renown score of 10+, a character might gain access to potions and scrolls, the ability to call in a favor, or backup on dangerous missions. A character whose renown score rises to 50 might be able to call in a small army, acquire a rare magic item, gain access to a helpful spellcaster, or assign special missions to members of lower status. Losing renown. Disagreement between members of a group aren't enough to cause a loss of renown with that group. However, serious offenses committed against the group or its members can result in a loss of renown and rank within the organization. The extent of loss depends on the infraction and is left to your discretion. A character's renown score with a group can never drop below 0. Level-based renown is the next section here. If you want to use the benefits of Renown without tracking Renown scores, you can use a character's level as a shorthand for the character's Renown score with a group, assuming the character has worked with or for that group for most of the character's career. The level-based Renown table shows equivalencies between Renown score and character level. Okay. Not a ton here for it, just the basic ideas, that just the small, simple framework for using Renown. There are no specifics given for the kinds of rewards that are available at given ranks. There are no specifics given for minimum, other than minimum being 0 and the maximum being 50. The idea that your players should be increasing renown with factions is kind of part and parcel for D&D all the time. You do a favor for the Duke at the Keep of the Borderlands, and he gives you the next favor. You do a solid for the wizard, and then eventually you do enough solids, he teleports you for free. This is part and parcel with D&D for campaigns and for adventures. The Renown section is just giving you a simple framework that you can design to fit what you need. Not a lot of guidance here, okay? Expect to make some mistakes in regards to giving your players too much or too little renown, but that's okay. There's no other benchmark other than what you decide to use. So this is going to be a floating concept, and I assure you that you will get better with giving out proportionate rewards for renown with practice, okay? One of the downsides of this is if you choose to do renown, if you choose to use rewards for increasing your standing with a faction, you need to have some scale built for the faction before you start with this system. You don't want to arbitrarily come up with the next tier. Okay, you guys are renowned 10, so this is the reward for 10. Okay, you guys are renowned 12, so this is the reward for 12. Oh shit, I wasn't paying attention what I gave you for 10. Take some time to set up your ideas for the system before you put this into gameplay. It's an optional rule. Some adventures, some of your pre-built modules, for example, Waterdeep Dragon Heist has this score going on with multiple factions in that campaign. Princes of the Apocalypse has some references to renown in regards to gaining ground with each of the 4 elemental factions. There are a few adventures that use renown as part of their game system, not completely dependent, but do have examples. So rest assured, if you are running an adventure that requires you to use renown, the adventure will come with it. If you're deciding to come up with this on your own, be aware of the scale of rewards and make sure that they're increasing proportionately with the increase in renown. Don't forget that they can lose renown, okay? The last thing, just tiny little bit of math thing here. The group involvement, okay? This means nothing unless you have a lot of downtime in your campaigns. The more downtime you put in your campaigns, the more things that your players can do away from the adventure, the more things you have to keep track of. This one is not as onerous as a lot of the stuff that I've seen, but there is a possibility that your players, by just hanging out with the people, hanging out in the guild hall long enough, they've made some friends, and that's what your group involvement is here to cover. Cool? That's really it. Not a long section, not a big section. Just enough to get your brain moving. Just enough for you to be aware that you can use renown, you can use standing, you can use faction, but you need to make sure that it's a trackable method. And my personal opinion, the last thing is make sure that you've drawn it out a little bit. Make sure you've designed the stages of renown and have some of the ideas for the reward before you start handing it out. That way at least you have a baseline to adjust from as your players progress into a faction. Oh shit, bouncing off the table there. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. That's the end of this section. Our next section will be settlements. This is chapter 3 of the Dungeon Master's Guide, the 2024 version of it. 2024, man, we're like edition 7012 at that point. But hey, thanks for hanging out, guys. We'll be back for the next video. We're going to look at settlements and the information they give us to run settlements in our toolbox. Should be interesting. See you guys soon. Likes, follows, subscribes, all that cool stuff is appreciated. Hopefully we'll see you back for the next episode.